Episode 52. Wang Juchu was both shocked and overjoyed. He never expected the sect's crisis to be resolved just like that, and for Jia Tianlong to be utterly annihilated in the process. This filled him with wild delight, yet also left him with a distinct sense of unease.
Since Dr. Han could help the Seven Mysteries sect overcome this crisis without lifting a finger, then with his divine skills he could just as easily crush the sect. He could even make our situation worse than the Wild Wolf Gang's is right now.
At that thought, Sect Master Wang's heart, which had just settled, tightened once more. His gaze instinctively swept toward the center of the arena.
Where's Dr. Han? Has anyone seen Dr. Han?
No idea, didn't notice.
Almost everyone shook their heads, claiming ignorance, and no wonder. The rest were all thoroughly intimidated by Han Li's method of burning a man alive. Who would dare keep a close eye on such a terrifying figure? And with that elusive, ghost-like movement technique of his, if he wanted to vanish, wouldn't it be a simple, effortless thing? At that moment, the gray-robed man, whose complexion had improved considerably, suddenly spoke up.
Don't bother looking. I saw that person slip into the crowd heading down the mountain. They've already left Sunset Peak.
As Wang Juchu scanned his surroundings, his gaze unexpectedly landed on one particular person. In an instant, his eyes gleamed, and the corners of his mouth curved into a smile.
At that moment, Li Feiyu, thrilled that his friend had suddenly become a transcendent expert, was chatting with Zhang Shuer, completely unaware that someone had already set their sights on him.
And so, the Wild Wolf Gang and the other sects swiftly withdrew from Rainbow Mountain, fleeing the territory of the Seven Mysteries sect without a moment's rest. And the Seven Mysteries sect's leadership, headed by Wang Juchu, had suffered heavy losses themselves, so they didn't send anyone in pursuit. For a long time after that, both the Wild Wolf Gang and the Seven Mysteries sect laid down their arms and focused on recuperation.
The tumultuous battle between the Seven Mysteries sect and the Wild Wolf Gang soon spread across thousands of miles of land, becoming a local legend tinged with the supernatural. It was discussed not only by those on the righteous and demonic paths, but even ordinary folk would recount it with relish, turning it into a story that endured for ages.
Last time we left off, the battle began with a duel between the peerless swordsman who could unleash sword auras and the sword immortal who could command a flying blade. In the end, the sword immortal's flying sword was too profound and unpredictable. Outclassing the swordmaster's sword aura, he utterly defeated the peerless swordsman and claimed victory.
And then what happened? Did the swordsman fight back?
That's right.
Hush now, and listen closely. Just as the two sides were locked in battle, the great villain, the Fire Fiend, suddenly appeared. Not only did he take advantage of their weakened state to slay the sword immortal who sought to vanquish him, but he also gave in to his demonic rage. With a single inferno, he burned nearly 1,000 of the gathered gang members alive. And the Wild Wolf Gang's leader was among the unfortunate dead.
Over 1,000 people.
Ugh, that's just vile. And the fire demon?
Yeah, what happened to him in the end?
Go on, old sir.
Naturally, the Fire Fiend met a gruesome end. His killing spree was too great, an affront to the heavens. In the end, celestial immortals struck him down with divine lightning on the spot, reducing him to ashes. That's why his trail vanished completely.
When Han Li, in his residence at Divine Hand Valley, heard this thoroughly demonized rumor about himself from Li Feiyu's mouth, he stood there stunned, speechless for a long moment.
Li Feiyu was already doubled over with laughter, unable to straighten up for the longest time.
It was now noon on the 5th day after the death duel had concluded. After the death duel concluded on Sunset Peak that day, Han Li took advantage of the chaos, slipping away with the crowd down the mountain. He found Ku Hun, and together they returned to the valley. As soon as Han Li returned, he hung a closed to visitors sign at the valley entrance, turning away several high-ranking members of the Seven Mysteries sect who had rushed over that very night to pay their respects. Of course, given Han Li's current formidable reputation, none of them dared to show the slightest displeasure, let alone enter the valley without permission. After waiting for a while, they had no choice but to slink back the way they came. Han Li knew his time was running short, so for days, before the sun even rose, he would use his telekinesis to send the talisman soaring through the valley as a streak of light, flying in endless circles until his magic power was completely spent. Then he would sit quietly with his eyes closed, regulating his breathing and allowing his magic power to slowly recover. Once his magic power had recovered to its normal level, he would once again practice by driving the talisman. And so, Han Li repeated his practice without pause. This monotonous, grueling training continued for 3 full days. It only ended when he felt he had grasped the fundamental principles of the driving technique.
Driving this glow really burns through my magic power. First, when driving the radiance, my magic power only lasts for a short quarter of an hour. Furthermore, the radiant light has a limited range for striking targets. It can only be controlled freely within a 20 zhang radius centered on me. Beyond that range, it becomes sluggish and stiff, and sometimes just fails to work. Once it flies beyond 30 zhang, the glow completely reverts to its original talisman form and falls to the ground.
As for the first 2 shortcomings, Han Li believed they would gradually improve as his magic power advanced. Then there was the final, fatal flaw of the talisman itself. After using the talisman a few times, Han Li noticed something. The cold light radiating from the gray sword drawn on the paper was slowly weakening with each use, as if its lifespan was gradually shortening. In other words, this talisman has a limited number of uses and a finite lifespan. Once its uses are exhausted, that's the day the talisman loses its spiritual essence and meets its end. This was one of the reasons Han Li stopped practicing as soon as he'd learned the basics of controlling the glow. He figured something this powerful was best saved for a real emergency. Who knows, this thing might just save his life in a future crisis. Han Li reasoned that the golden talisman, which could create a protective barrier, likely had the same limitation. For now, he didn't know the activation incantation, so he simply stored it away safely for future use. During his rest, Han Li also studied the triangular token and the Qin clan genealogy, but unfortunately he didn't gain any insights from them. On the 5th day, Han Li finally took down the closed for business sign. Li Feiyu came bustling in right away, and the moment he saw Han Li, he launched into telling him all about the wild rumors that had been circulating. These rumors left Han Li caught between laughter and tears. He could only put on a stern face and glare at Li Feiyu with exasperation, watching the other man openly mock him. Li Feiyu finally stopped his loud laughter, his mirth slowly fading as he said,
I'm sure you can guess why I'm here.
It's just that those big shots aren't quite at ease with me, so they sent you to sound me out, right?
Good. You know the score. But how do you expect your good friend here to answer to those guys? You know, to buy my loyalty, they've already promised to promote me from Deputy Hallmaster to the full position.
It seems I'll have to meet with Sectmaster Wang and his people to clear things up. Otherwise, they won't rest easy. All right. Go back and tell Sectmaster Wang that I will personally meet him at Sunset Peak tomorrow at noon. Tell him there's no need to rush.
Good. With your word, I can report back.
Han Li and Li Feiyu stared at each other for a moment longer. Then Li Feiyu took his leave and departed the valley, heading back to report to Wang Juchu and the others. Han Li stood at the door, watching Li Feiyu's receding figure for a long while. Suddenly, he gave a mysterious smile, then closed the door and went inside, looking quite pleased. The next morning, just as dawn was breaking, Han Li slipped unnoticed onto Sunset Peak and quietly infiltrated the sectmaster's quarters. When Wang Juchu awoke and saw the figure standing rigidly at his bedside, his face turned as ugly as could be. Still, he managed to squeeze out a thin smile.
Dr. Han, you're here. My apologies for not greeting you at the gate. But wasn't the meeting set for noon? You're here rather early.
Han Li shot a cold glance at Sectmaster Wang. That single look made Wang Juchu's hair stand on end, his face stinging as if cut by a blade.
It's nothing. I just thought that if we met in the morning, everyone's mind would be clearer, less likely to do something unpleasant for the other party.
Hearing this, Sect Master Wang's heart gave a sudden lurch, and he began to feel uneasy.
He recalled the message from Li Feiyu yesterday. Han Li will be arriving at Sunset Peak tomorrow at noon.
Han Li is too dangerous, too hard to control. I say we prepare for the meeting, rig the place, and kill him when we get the chance.
No, that's far too risky. What if we fail?
Han Li is not someone to be trifled with.
I think we should speak with him first, before making any decision.
The longer we wait, the more likely word will get out. We should strike now.
Everyone knows the truth. Saying Han Li is too dangerous is just an excuse. The truth is, some people just want to get their hands on his cultivation techniques, hoping to profit from this Dr. Han. Even those who opposed taking direct action likely harbored the same intentions. They just favored a more subtle, more discreet approach. The two factions argued right in front of Sect Master Wang, their faces flushed red with anger. They kept bickering incessantly, right up until the meeting was nearly over. Finally, the surviving gray-robed man's uncle had seen enough. He spoke a single, icy sentence, and the room fell silent.
You killed this Dr. Han. Aren't you afraid his elders will come looking for you?